Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. It's a little bit before 7 o'clock on a Friday night, about 10 till 7. And it's time for Kevin, man. So let me make sure that I'm at least getting a notification to myself. Oh, there it is. Popped right on up. Look at that. Says only one person's watching, and I'm assuming that one person is me. I'll send myself some love. When is the cavalry coming in? Waiting for the cavalry. I'm blowing the trumpet. Where are the troops? Yeah, hey there, Kev. Oh, there they go. Coming in. If the man had his way, y'all wouldn't even know I was doing the show today. Yeah, that's what would happen. Yeah, I was looking at the numbers last night going, ugh, killing me. Notifications, probably. All of these people missing all those notifications, 198,000 folks. And we average around maybe, if they're nice, 2,100, 2,700 views on the show. But when they're acting up, 1,400, things like that. And playing games. When are they going to be called up to Congress and be drilled? That's what I want to know. When is YouTube going to be called to Congress and be drilled and be held accountable for all of the shenanigans they did over the COVID years and stuff like that? It's messed up, man. Somebody said, love your channel. Thank you, Sonia. Appreciate that. It's Friday. We might as well have some fun making fun of these liberals. It's always fun to do that because they're nuts. They're crazy. So if this is your first time joining the show, hit the like button, share my videos, follow me on all the other social media platforms. And with that being said, since I'm assuming y'all can hear me, let me go ahead and get loose so I can get busy. Real gorilla. Real gorilla. Real gorilla. There's some kings in the building. Gorillas in here. Gorillas in here. Gorillas in here. Gorillas in here. Yeah, man. Now, don't forget, there's a Kevin's Corner store up in this joint, too. You can go ahead in there and check out some merch for yourself or for someone else. Yeah, buy some products and send them to one of your liberal friends just to mess with them. I want you to wear this shirt. I want you to wear this shirt with MAGA man on it right there. Now, I refuse. You've triggered me. But, yeah, you can go ahead and buy some merch. And that number on the screen, 330-974-4607 is the number you can text MAGA to, just in case they try to bounce me off of this platform. I love for you guys to follow me on my other channel as well on YouTube. I still haven't checked. I gave up. YouTube won't let me crack 1,000 over there. So I just kind of stopped checking. I don't even want to see it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to sneak a peek real soon, though, and see if they've ever got off my back, because we could be doing live shows over there for those that are subscribed. But anyway, with that being said, guys, we have another episode of The Brain Explains. And I'm talking about Stephen Miller. I affectionately call him The Brain. Yeah, man, you don't want to you don't want to tangle with the brain, okay? All right, that man is about 95% all brain and 5% rest of the body makes it up there. That head contains a lot of knowledge in it, and he uses it. He uses this gift to slay all of those idiots on the left. So the brain, once again, has to explain to the insane. The insane I don't know what it is. Insane in the brain. And he starts off with, of course, addressing the everyday ongoing question about Garcia. Boy, this guy. I mean, I am madder than a mug that this dude now has become pretty famous, in America. Yeah, we got us a MS-13 gang banger who's now famous because the Democrats made him famous. He's now always going to be seen by some idiot as a victim, as a prisoner of Trump's white supremacy and all of that stuff. And in reality, all he is an MS-13 gangbanger terrorist. That's all he is. So let's go ahead and get into it, because the press refused to leave the brain alone about this question. And so now he's about to give them a earful. Don't hold back, Brain. Don't hold back.
And then one on Everett Garcia, please. The administration is reportedly inquiring about his return. Is that to check a box for compliance, or does President Trump want him back on U.S. soil, or both?
So, as Secretary Rubio said yesterday in the cabinet meeting, this administration is not going to publicly discuss the inside details of our foreign policy and negotiations with a foreign country.
Yeah. So basically, what's it to you? That's the real answer. What's it to you? Why do you want to know about Garcia? Do you know Garcia? Do you call him at home? Huh? See, so all of these folks, they're so concerned about this Maryland man that's down there in El Salvador. They want to know what Trump is doing, how they negotiate and all of that stuff. But I tell you who shouldn't be negotiating is Democrat lawmakers. They should not be down there in El Salvador trying to negotiate the return of a domestic terrorist to our country. See, I find that a little concerning. Sounds like traitor behavior. I'm just saying. They're going out there trying to bring terrorists back into the country. I mean, is it any different if they say, let's go get some folks from Al-Qaeda, the Taliban? We want to bring them into the country. And pretty much they did when they left our border wide open, because we have no idea to this day who's all in this country. But let's continue, because see, the Brain now got to make them feel insane with this beautiful logic he's about to lay down on them heavy. Lay something heavy on the man.
And in particular, we are not going to allow a district court judge to try to become the Secretary of State. Secretary Rubio is the one who, under his leadership and direction at the State Department, is managing the day-to-day relationship with El Salvador.
Word.
Let's just take a moment, number one, to express our gratitude to El Salvador for agreeing to take some of the most dangerous terrorists off of America's streets and to put them into a safe environment.
Wow. Look how he flipped that narrative. Because when you hear it from the fake news, the Maryland man was just kidnapped and they're sent down to this concentration camp down there in El Salvador, where a self-proclaimed dictator runs this concentration camp. Who knows? Who knows what he's doing to him? We wonder if he's even still alive. Is Garcia still alive? See, they present it like that. Whereas the Brain presents it like we want to thank him for taking these riffraff, back into his country, because that's where the riffraff came from, and sticking his butt in a very safe maximum prison. So how do you like that, media? How you going to spin that? But he ain't done with him yet.
Where they cannot continue to engage in acts of terrorism or coordination with the Maduro regime. You may have seen recently an FBI assessment that was unclassified that said that the Maduro regime is using and planning to use trained Nicaragua terrorists to carry out assassination plots on American soil.
Well, you think the media cares about those things? Now that the FBI is under Cash Patel, you know what, is illegitimate. Who knows? They could be just making up stuff. But under Biden, they were the upstanding FBI who was just simply doing their jobs by harassing old ladies who were praying in front of abortion clinics and sliding down ropes and stuff in Roger Stone's crib, busting through windows with long guns and boats and helicopters and stuff like that. Showing up at a father's house and arresting him in front of his kids and wife. Yeah, they were too busy doing that, hunting down all of those insurrectionists from J6. That's what they were up to. But now it appears that the FBI has released some information about all of these precious illegal gangbangers that the Democrats and the fake news love so much all of a sudden.
Now, very few in this room covered that. I'll let you all ask yourselves why you didn't cover it.
I can answer that one, Brain. I'm not that smart. I'm not as smart as you, Brain, but I mean, I got some noodles, okay? I guess I'm the only one in the class understands why they didn't cover it, because they're the fake news and they're trying to cover for the Democrats. So they can't cover that report from the FBI because they're covering for the Democrats who let all of these folks into the country. That's right. Is that right? Is that correct? I want a sticker. Yeah, you remember when you was a kid? Stickers was everything. You get older, he's like, I can't even believe I used to fight tooth and nail to get a sticker. Yeah, but they make you feel good. That's right, Kevin. Come up here and get a sticker. That's right. I only get one answer right maybe every 7 or 8 months. And I'm going to ride this one until the wheels fall off. Let's continue.
Why your editors didn't assign that story to you, something I think you should think about on your own. But this is a earth-shattering piece of news. The Biden administration imported the terrorist army that our own FBI assesses is planning assassination strikes on American soil against critics of the Maduro regime.
Well, wouldn't that kind of make the Biden administration accessory to this crime, a traitor to our country? Because, see, the first responsibility of the raggedy president that he was to keep the country safe, keep the motherland safe from an invasion. But what did they do? Search the border. We're going to find out later in my live stream what he did. Yeah, to bring all of these terrorists into our country. And now the media and the fake news and the Democrats are trying to keep them here.
Those are the terrorists that President Trump is finding and apprehending that our Democrat judges and Democrat activists are trying to keep on U.S. soil.
Wow. And Brain, when you explain it like that, these folks seem insane. When you say, yeah, all of these folks that these other regimes said, wow, you mean to tell me we could slide a Trojan horse right in through the gates of America? They're not screening. They're not sitting back giving serious, investigations into all of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people a month was coming into our country. How can you? How can you? You pretty much got to eyeball it. When they're coming in 200,000-300,000 a month, you got to look at each person. All right, let's see. What do you think? You think he's built like a terrorist? He's a little short guy right there. I mean, I don't know how much violence he can dish out being 4'2". Well, you're short enough. Go ahead in. All right, this guy right here, obviously, he looks maybe terrorist-ish, but we're not allowed to sit him back yet because he doesn't have due process. So all of those folks then came into the country and was invited by the Biden administration. Now, Stephen Miller is explaining it in a dumb way, in a sane way, so that all of these folks fighting for this mess start to seem insane. When you explain it like that, Brain, these folks now seem more insane. Let's continue.
Train de Aragua has the same legal status as Al-Qaeda and ISIS.
Woo.
MS-13 has the same legal status as Al-Qaeda and ISIS. These are foreign terrorists operating on our soil. And our gratitude to El Salvador for agreeing to take custody of these terrorists is immense. With respect to the case that you mentioned, there's not even been more evidence that has been made public of this person's violent, repeated threats and assaults against his spouse.
Wow. More evidence. But you think the fake news went and dug that evidence out? You think they wanted to know this guy's background? Let him be a white person that voted for Trump. They would be going through everything, his baby pictures. Right there, you can see at 3, he was showing signs of racism right there. He went over and ended up picking up the white doll instead of the black doll. That's obvious racism right there. It's in the bone. It's in the bone. And when he was 7, they would break it all down. Yeah, they would give you all the details. They'd be hunting. They'd be showing up at people's house. Excuse me. Did you know the white nationalist, racist, systemically racist person that lived next door growing up? They would be doing all that. But for some reason, though, all of this evidence just laying out there for them to report on and get to the bottom of this Maryland man's background. And they didn't even go look. And that's not including the MS-13 tattoos on his knuckles that they could have easily found out that, yeah, those do represent MS-13. But they don't want to know that. Instead, they want to go ahead and say, there's no evidence. I mean, it appears to be gang related, but we don't know that because it hasn't went through due process. So Stephen's about to tell them where they can go stick their due process.
Someone who had repeated, documented human trafficking and human smuggling offenses. Somebody that has extensively documented membership in MS-13, a terrorist organization. And of course, he had MS-13 tattooed on his knuckles.
Wow, I'm sold. Brain, you ain't got to tell me no more. Get this guy out the country. We don't need to go and do all of the details and run him through due process. Okay, no time for that. Just the fact that this dude was in our country illegally. There you go. I'm sorry, buddy. I can't give you the benefit of the doubt moving forward. Because the very first act in our country, you broke the law by coming across our border illegally. Ta-da! That should solve this whole mystery about the Maryland man. The Maryland man came across illegally. Now, he just so happened to be a gang member. That's why he got sent to El Salvador instead of just sent back to wherever country he came from. But nonetheless, I don't want to hear no sad stories about these people ever again. And until y'all recognize the fact that they violated our immigration laws, they committed a crime coming across the border, but they don't say that. They all had a right to be here, according to the Democrats.
This is a person that was a clear and present danger to the safety of the American people. What? And it is a sad reflection on the state of our media and many of the outlets represented in this room that you obsessively try to shill for this MS-13 terrorist with no coverage occurred in your papers about any of the Americans that were raped and tortured and murdered.
Why is that? Could that be that their whole audience who think these people are all here for a better life, and they think these people are gentle woodland creatures, would be too heavy for them? See, when you start covering the darkest stories about illegal immigration, I don't care how much of a bubblehead you are, you'll start to go, well, maybe these people aren't little angels like the Democrats and the fake news are telling us. Yeah, drop a couple of those horror stories on these raggedy networks and cover it fairly. Maybe some of those people will start to feel like the people who got a first-hand witness of how these illegal immigrants have impacted their neighborhoods when the Democrats sent them all in there. Sometimes you need to see it right up on your face. And he's about to go ahead and call out the hypocrisy of all of these people who are concerned about the Maryland man, because they don't want to see whether he's a gangbanger up close, though. See, they want to look afar. They know he's down in El Salvador. He's no threat to them. We could go ahead and philosophize all day about whether those represent MS-13 tattoos. We could go ahead and philosophize all day about due process until you stick him and his buddies in their neighborhoods. At that point, they're like, man, I can't be concerned about due process. That guy is here legally. He's rocking all these tattoos and his buddies are too. I'm concerned. I heard him and his woman scrapping the other night, and the cops showed up. I want this guy out of here. But nope. See, they're in the safety of wherever they live. And Steve is about to call them out.
By the illegals that Biden was importing into our country. You know, you talk about due process. The Biden administration made the decision to give extensive due process to two trained Nicaragua terrorists.
Spaghetti-o. Now, the brain is about to explain a real life story that has real life consequences that these people never consider. Whenever they talk about these illegal immigrants, they never want to consider the bad apples. They don't even want to bring them up. They downplay that. They all have, it's not that many. Trump saying it's a migrant crime epidemic. Those are lies. Those are absolutely lies. A study show that illegal immigrants, undocumented Americans, commit less crime than Americans. So what? So what? Even if that was true. But so what if one of those bad boys who shouldn't have been here committed a crime? That's a problem. And they are gambling with all these Americans' lives when they brought all 11 or 12 or God knows how many of them into our country. So now Stephen has to shame the fake news about due process. Let's see how that due process worked out.
That were apprehended at the border just a couple years ago. They were two gentlemen. They were from Venezuela. They were members of Trained Nicaragua. The Biden administration, Border Patrol apprehended them
and sent them back. That's brain. That is all I need. That's the only thing you should tell me after this. I don't want to hear nothing about sizing them up. All right, you know what? You're going to promise not to do anything in our country, right? Absolutely. Okay, now here's a ticket. All right, you go in and you come back in about 7 or 8 years if you feel like it, and we'll have a trial or a case or something like that. That's the only thing I should be hearing, Stephen, is we sent these raggedy folks packing back to where they came from. But instead...
and made the decision to provide them with extensive due process, put them onto a program known as supervised release, and put them on ankle monitors so they could go through a lengthy legal judicial determination as to whether these legal aliens who had just set foot on U.S. soil...
just set foot on U.S. soil, and look at all the rights they acquired under the Biden. That's all you have to do is stick your big toe on our land, but you got to be illegal. Got to be an illegal immigrant on our land. And immediately, you just like hit the lottery. All of the laws and everything and the due rights and the process and all this stuff, it applies to you too. That quick. Not to mention, have a baby. You got yourself a little baby American there. There you go. Look at all the benefits, all the incentives that the Biden administration and other dumb folks gave these people to come here. So now you're telling me that while they were fiddling around with due process by putting little ankle bracelets on these guys, what happened?
Might want to live in the United States for the rest of their lives. What was the result of that decision? What was the result of that choice that was made?
Tell us.
Those two men kidnapped a young girl named Jocelyn Ungary from her family. They beat her, they sexually assaulted her, they tortured her, they stripped her.
And you might as well go ahead and put Mucus' name in there with those two. Put Biden's name in there with those two. Kamala, matter of fact, the whole Democrat Party. Just go ahead and say these two guys, along with the Democrat Party, Biden, Mucus, the other one, the what is his name? I call him you know him. He was the DOJ guy. Him. What was his name? I got a nickname for him. Not Mayorkas. Mayorkas is Mucus. But not Tim, but well, all of them too. When you throw the whole Democrat Party and how they advocate, Merrick Garlic. Yeah, Garlic. There it is. Merrick Garlic. There it is instead of Garland. He's garlic. He stinks. That guy. Along with him, along with the FBI director, along with anybody who saw all of this stuff coming and knew that, man, dude, we're probably about to bite off more than we can chew. We have no idea who we're letting into the country, but we have no time to stop. No time to sort it out right now. We got to go ahead and beat, the time clock. Get as many in as we can. And if we start bringing too much negative attention while we're trying to go ahead and isolate and show everybody how many of these folks are coming in for bad intentions, it might turn sentiment. It might wake up people who maybe wasn't paying attention to our dark secret. And they might say, whoa. So wait, y'all bringing in what, 10,000 this month? And you found out that 1,500 of them were murderers? Maybe we should pump the brakes on that. Wasn't paying attention to it. But now that you're giving us the truth about how dangerous this is, maybe we might not be on the Democrat side. So they don't want to bring up those things. So they're all responsible for this lady's death as well. None of them came out and said, dang, we messed up. None of them said, man, I feel bad for the family. None of them want to see their dirty work. So tell us, Steve, since the media didn't want to cover it, what did these two angels do to this girl while they were waiting on their due process?
They murdered her and they dumped her body. That is what the Biden administration's policy was. Most of your papers never covered her story when it happened.
Nope. So do you think that woman, while she was being murdered, was thinking about these people shouldn't be judged? We don't want to stereotype them. We don't want to profile them, and hey, they came here for a better life and they deserve due process. You think that was going through her mind? You think those thoughts were going through her parents' mind and the families and stuff like that? You think they were all concerned about due process? You think right now, as their daughter is gone and these two fools are in prison somewhere, you think they're still looking at those folks as being treated fairly under our laws? Having access to all of our due process? You think they're still looking at, hey, regardless of what they did to my daughter, they had a right to be here and they went through due process? And no, nobody cares about these dudes' due process after you see what they've done. That's what the due process got an American citizen. While all these fools are sitting in the press conference asking about another domestic terrorist that was in our country. And when is Garcia coming back? We want more terrorists here.
To the extent that you covered it at all, it was because President Trump forced you.
And somebody said she was 12 years old, a child. That even makes it worse. That right there makes me want to call up a couple hardcore pipe hitting brothers and just say, you know what? Here's the due process you're about to get off the books, off the records. Can we go off land? We don't want these folks to be covered by our Constitution when it comes down to what we're about to do to these two men. So let us go step right over the border into Mexico, okay? And let us handle these two dudes. Yeah, with some real due process. There you go. Give them all kind of due process. Right hand or left hand first? Which one do you use the most? You could cut off my left because I'm right-handed. Good. Get the right hand. There you go. You won't be touching kids anymore. There you go, pal. But due process.
You to cover it by highlighting it repeatedly over and over again. He had to shame you into covering it. And each and every one of you decides over and over again with these MS-13 terrorists, to the extent that you have the financial means to do so, you all choose to live in condos or homes or houses as far away from these kinds of gangbangers as you possibly can.
Oh.
If I offered any one of you a rent-free home with no taxes to pay in any of these gang neighborhoods, and I said your neighbors are MS-13 terrorists or Mexican mafia or Sinaloa cartel or Tren de Aragua, I couldn't pay you to live there.
Oh, the brain had enough. He's bringing it right to their face. He's like, you know what? First of all, Trump had to shame y'all into covering that murder. They probably covered it like this. Today, Trump and his white supremacy is just kidnapping people and wants them sent back to their country unlawfully. In other news, a little girl got killed by some illegal aliens and something. Now, let's get back to Trump's white nationalism. That's how the media is probably tiptoeing around stories like that. So now Stephen has to bring it to their attention, redirect their focus from down there with Garcia to what these homeboys did while they were waiting on their due process. So nobody with common sense want to hear about some dang on due process. Yeah. And then he brought it really home and said, all of you guys in your gated communities and, wherever you're from, you don't want to hang around these folks. You don't want to give them the benefit of the doubt when you see all these tattoos on their knuckles. If a whole bunch of them were standing in front of these people's cribs with those tattoos, you think they would be philosophizing about whether it's really MS-13 tattoos or not? Haven't been proven. They haven't been in a court of law. They just all seem to have these tattoos on their knuckles. There's rumors, though, that represents MS-13, but I don't want to judge them. And I also don't want to profile them either. There you go. All right. You think that's what they would be doing? You think they'd be hollering about all the crap that they're trying to holler about to shame us into bringing this guy back? No. And he even sweetened the deal for him to show how hypocritical they are. He said, if I gave y'all a free house, tax-free, matter of fact, I'll even go ahead and take it one step higher than Steve. Give them a mansion, pool, everything. Only condition is we put it right in the midst of a whole bunch of these migrants with these tattoos and stuff like that, living around that mansion. They would turn it down. They'd be like, no, I'm cool. It ain't worth my life. But it is worth risking the lives of all you peasants out there for the Democrat Party to change the demographics of our country and secure our voting base for the rest of eternity. It is worth that. It's worth risking your lives, but not ours. We're too precious. We're the media. So, Steve, finish him.
But yet you, with your coverage, are trying to force innocent Americans to have these people as their neighbors, and that one day their daughter may be abducted from their home and raped and murdered. So you're not going to get an ounce of sympathy from this administration or President Trump for the terrorists who've invaded our homes and our prominent.
Woo-wee! Steve, well, they up in there like Rodney the Dangerfield. Oh, yeah, it's a tough crowd. Hey, I don't get no respect. Yeah, I came in here today and I asked about the terrorists, and look what happened to me. I don't get no respect. You don't deserve any respect. You deserve that verbal lashing as y'all are in there whining about Witness Garcia coming back. He didn't get due process. Yeah, neither did the little girl. So now, stick that in your mic and smoke it. But guys, we're going to embarrass a couple more of these Democrats. Here's one right here arguing about the laws and stuff of a sanctuary city and stuff. And that's why he had to let these criminals and stuff go. So let's hear this dummy.
I have is with sanctuary cities like yours in Baltimore, where I personally had experience with detainers not being honored or respected. So in your experience, what is a federal detainer, and do you support exercising those?
Yeah, see, we got to lock these dummies down, these dum-dims down to let's hear what your ideal is of whatever this is. Because obviously, in their minds, it's all twisted. Coming across our border illegally is not a crime. They're not breaking laws. You know what it is? It's a misdemeanor. And all of that stuff. Yeah, they tried to go ahead and explain things to their eyes. So now let's see what these definitions are according to this liberal who is inside of a sanctuary city.
Detainers become a problem for us.
What is, as you understand it, what is a federal detainer?
Yeah, explain.
I've issued
A
them as
detainer is pretty much a notice to local law enforcement that they want a particular person and, give us notice when they're going to be released.
Good. You're so far, so good. But he's a Democrat. He's about to go off the rails. So far.
who's already in custody.
Who's already in custody.
So that means, by extension, they have already committed a crime or been arrested for a crime, correct?
Bam! There you go. Probably multiple ones. And the fact that they didn't recognize, hey, we just arrested a guy that came into our country illegally. See, in Democrat land, that's the first problem. When they catch these guys who've just committed a crime, because that's why they're in jail, they don't view them as, wait, you first committed a crime when you came into the country illegally. That's the big problem. They don't view that as a crime. See? And so they overlooked that and they said, let's just start fresh. You're here now. Let's let bygones be bygones about how you got here. We're just going to go ahead and ask you some questions about that red light that you ran while you were drinking and swerving all over the place and ran over 4 or 5 people on the sidewalk. Other than that, you're fine. Now, all of these cases we hear about, they catch these people, oftentimes let them go before they don't even turn them over to ICE. And before Trump came in, they just let them go, period. Didn't even let ICE know nothing. There you go. Go ahead, commit all the crimes you want. We'll let you go somehow, go easy on you, or just ship you to another state so you can mess around and kill somebody there. So now he's going to force this dude into embarrassment. You ever have to force somebody into embarrassment? Like, see, man, you know what? You're going to make me embarrass you. You forcing me to embarrass you.
Correct?
Absolutely.
And those detainers, when they're not honored, those people are released without federal law enforcement effectuating an arrest, correct?
I've never experienced that, no.
Well, that's what the detainers, that's what the sanctuary policies are built around. You're not honoring a federal detainer.
Because under my command, the notice went out in a timely fashion, and the federal authorities, be it ICE or another federal agency, were then waiting for that person to be released. But
while they were sneaking them out back doors, while they have judges that might walk them out, while they might say, yeah, we're going to go ahead and release them. Okay, well, cool. We could be there in an hour. Yeah, that might be. We're ordered to let them go in 5 minutes from now. Well, we can't get down there to get them in 5 minutes. Exactly. It's not our job to hold them so you guys can come and arrest them. We gave you a heads up. It's not our job. You can't get out here in 3 minutes. So that's how they were getting around these retainers.
by law, we could not hold them with a...
By whose law? Sanctuary City Democrat law. That's why. Yeah, you can hold them, but y'all make up your own laws and your raggedy SO-ran cities and states like you're not even a part of the United States. There you go. Have your own rules and stuff like that. So let's continue.
A detainer. A warrant? Yes. A detainer? No.
So just to cut to the chase, you don't honor the detainer. You have someone in your custody who's illegal.
Got him.
You're notified by federal law enforcement that they are here illegally.
Bam! And see, therein lies the problem. Notified by law enforcement that they're in here illegally, but according to the Democrat mind, nobody's illegal. That's the problem. Nobody's illegal. Y'all are saying they're in here legally, but that's not a crime. It's just a misdemeanor. It's a misdemeanor. Yeah. We only hold them when they do the big stuff. Yeah, when they get to murder and things like that, where it's a national problem. But all this other stuff, we let them go. So now this guy's making this dude look dumb.
The detainer says, please hold. Sanctuary policy.
Wow. Thank you, Mousy. I appreciate that. Yeah, man. Now, let's get back to this fool up here trying to explain why their laws in their city says we can't hold these illegal immigrants, undocumented Americans, while we wait for ICE to come and deport them.
Policy does not honor the detainer, correct?
Correct. If it's a warrant, we don't.
Exactly. So you have people who have been arrested at the local level. There's a federal instruction to hold them. Now
you're following this, right? See, he's going through the steps so everybody can see how stupid this sounds. Yeah, breaking it down. Yeah, you got the guy. You know there's a retainer for him. You know he's illegal, but you're lying and saying, well, nobody's illegal. So what else?
An illegal immigrant criminal, and you prioritize releasing them rather than working with federal law enforcement. And it's your opinion that that serves your local community, correct?
Bam! And that's for every single stupid Democrat mayor Conehead and the Asian lady and all of them when they went up here to the Capitol. And they're all sitting back talking about these people. We don't even ask questions whether they're here or not illegally. We look out for all of our citizens that happen to be in our state and all of that crap. Yeah, that's how these people operate in their mind to try to justify why their first question is, wait a minute, as I get this docket, says here you were dogfighting. But before I can get to your dogfighting, it also says you broke into the country. You're illegal. We don't even have to go any further. We don't have to waste the time figuring out if we're going to charge you for illegal dog fighting, all this stuff and this and that. Yeah, what we're going to do immediately is call ICE and say, we got one for you. That's what should be happening. That's what should be happening. We shouldn't even go any further into all the other crap unless it's a serious crime. I don't care if it's, oh wait, this man is in court for stealing a pack of bubble yum. Okay. It says here he's illegal. Okay, that's the first crime then. Okay, never mind. Forget the bubble gum. Send this man to ICE, but not in these sanctuary cities. So this guy now is going to try to justify why they have an illegal immigrant right there. We got him. But just like fishing and throwing the fish back in the water for some reason, I don't know why people do that. Yeah, that's what they're going to do.
They paid their debt.
To whom? They paid their debt.
Releasing someone who's here illegally, who has already been arrested. I'm asking the question, sir. It's your testimony that releasing an arrested illegal immigrant criminal effectuates a safety or a safe policy for your community.
Of course. Now you see how dumb it sounds when you hear they paid their debt. So now let me understand. Because you've overlooked the first crime, which is coming into the country illegally. Whatever little slap on the wrist you gave them for what brought them to your courtroom, you look at that as they paid their debt. It could be a fine. All right, sir, you were caught driving without a license and you were drunk driving. Here's a fine. We're suspending your license that you shouldn't have because you're in the country illegally, but somehow you got a license in our state or city. But nonetheless, we're going to just suspend that license that you shouldn't have had in the first place. And we're going to let you go because you paid your debt. Because we just overlooked the real debt that should be paid, which is you should be deported because you're broken here illegally. That should be the debt, but not them, according to them. Scrap that first part. They paid their debt. So now what we're going to do is risk all of our real citizens. The real folks we should be looking out for are our American citizens. We're going to risk them by sending these folks back out into society instead of sending them to ICE. You know why? Because guess what? They're all a part of our community. These are all our citizens, according to the Democrat leaders in these raggedy states and cities.
When they're released by the order of the court on a specific date and time.
This is what I call an evasive. This is what I call an evasive answer.
That's what
evasive answer, and a stupid one too.
Someone has been arrested in your town who's here illegally, and you want them to be released rather than to work with federal law enforcement. And it's your testimony that makes your community safer.
Yeah, tell the people how that makes your city safer. Your community safer. Yeah, they always lied to us. You know what? Our diversity is our strength. And these people pretty much built the whole country anyway. They pretty much built, and we need them. We need them to pick our fruit and wash our pools and scrub our toilets and stuff like that. We need them. Yeah, there you go. So it makes us safer. There it is.
Safer.
we work according to the law.
Do you think that being here illegally is consistent with the law?
Bam! That's how you get them. That's how you get them. That's how you lock them in. Yeah, to go ahead and have to admit, we don't recognize the law. We don't recognize the fact that when these folks break into our country, it's a crime and they should be deported. So now he got him with his back up against the wall.
With the federal law or state
federal law? No. When they commit a crime, they get arrested by your law enforcement agency.
It's a civil process you're talking about.
It is not a civil process.
That's right. Bring them back to the truth. Because that's what I've been hearing from all these dummies. That was a civil process at that point. Or, you know what? It's not a crime to come into our country illegally. It's just a misdemeanor. Well, that's still a crime. You know, I don't care if it's a misdemeanor or not. The fact that you're here illegally. Yeah, miss me with that misdemeanor. Send him out. So now this guy got to sit back and admit that he don't recognize this as a crime.
They are not brought into your jail by a civil action.
Will the gentleman yield?
Local
I will
police
not.
do not have the authority to enforce that federal law.
They have the authority to hold someone when a federal detainer is issued.
Thank you. Now you hear this, dummy? Local police doesn't have the authority to enforce that law. So basically you're trying to say, well, our cops can't deport these people. They're not ICE. What do you want them to do with them? They can hold them. I mean, it happens to Americans all the time. You break the law and try to go across the country and get caught speeding in some other state, and they want to go ahead and extradite you back. They make a phone call. We got a guy here. We see did this in your city and state. You're still looking for him. You got a warrant out for him. All right, tell you what. Arrange for us to send them to you, or y'all come get this person. But not according to the legal immigrants. Yeah. And if we do let ICE know, it's last minute. There you go. Call them up right about dismissal time. Hey, I just want to let y'all know, man, we caught an illegal immigrant over here, man. We about to dismiss him. So if y'all could book it down here real quick, you might be able to snag him up, but you probably won't make it. You probably won't make it because the judge and all of them make sure. All of these politicians in these cities, they make sure you don't make it.
And that you're skirting the issue. They were in your custody for some other action, correct?
Which they've served their time for.
Which they served their time for. Boy, I'm so glad I don't live in a dumb state and dumb city. Boy, I'm telling you, I would wreak havoc if I lived in a sanctuary city. I would show up to every single one of those town hall meetings and let them have it. I would go viral, just like the women up there in Chicago. I would be going viral every week, exposing these dummies. I almost want to move to one just to do it. Move to a sanctuary city just to pick fights. Here comes that guy. What is his name? Kevin. God, can't stand him. Let's see if we can avoid him. Nope, you won't be able to avoid me. I'm going to be in that bad boy like, oh, can't deny me. Why would you want to? You need me. I'm going viral every week. What did you just say, dummy? You want to let these folks back out because I will be giving it to them, man.
Or yes.
For some other action. And when you issue a hold, it is a sanctuary policy to let them go, correct?
Sanctuary policy. I'm talking about what I know to be a legal policy.
A legal policy. A complete law that we done fabricated that overrides federal law. That's what that is.
My time's expired. I think that the point was...
Yeah, the point has been made. But you know what, though? It's time to celebrate the champ. While all those dummies are doing everything they can to make sure we keep a whole bunch of dangerous illegal immigrants into our country. Victor Hansen here, he's going to explain how awesome Trump is. And just think it's only been 100 days. And look what he's done.
Completely reversed 10,000 people coming in a day, over 300,000 a month, 12 million in 4 years, to essentially 98% of the border is secure.
Wow. Yeah, we knew that was going to happen. That's what I'm talking about.
In fact, there is no open border now.
Oh, love it.
Now,
He shut that sucker down. There is no open border now. But remember, guys, the definition of an open border, according to the Democrats, we're going to have to show them what their definition of a closed border was. Yeah, everybody was telling them that that border was open. The border, it's not open, it's closed, it is secure. That's a secure border. 98%, 98 probably 0.9%, that's a closed border. But the Democrats got a different vision of what the closed border is. We're going to show them to remind them.
How he has pivoted to try to address the 12 million people that Joe Biden not only let in, but scattered all over the United States.
To make it real difficult to get them out. They knew what they were doing. I saw it. It's as clear as day. When they were bringing them, all of those big lines and their excuses of why we can't stop them, it's seasonal and all these people are coming because of climate, all that stuff. And the way they were sneaking them around all over the place to make sure we can't just throw a big fat dragnet out there and swoop them all up. Let's spread them out all over the place. Make it hard just in case we get beat for our activities. Yeah, in case the American people punish us for what we're doing to them and they bring Trump back in there to correct us, it's going to be a hard time rounding them all up. Yeah. So you would think that they would lay off of him rounding up the criminals first, but they can't even do that. They can't even let Trump get the criminals without trying to protect them. They apparently don't want to lose a single illegal immigrant that they done brought into the country. What could one of these folks do that would make these Democrats say, now that guy, he went too far. No due process for him. Send him out of here. Maybe run up in somebody's crib that done advocated for all of that stupidity and do something to them or their family. Maybe then they might be going, get that dude out. I'm wondering what one of these people can do to where the media and these Democrats be like, yeah, he needs to be deported without no dang on due process. So now Victor is schooling all the dummies
On often state, federal, local subsidy. That's going to be a task. But he has shut the border.
These people are just waiting.
Now that's a closed border according to them. According to the Democrats, look what Trump had to correct. Look at the difference between this and what the border looks like now.
Waiting for a chance to be able to contribute fully. They become Americans before a lot of Americans become Americans.
Yeah.
We have to surge.
Surge.
We have to surge.
Surge. We have to surge. Surge. These people only did what the Democrats allowed them to do. In fact, encouraged them to do. Yeah, that's what they did. Yeah, these people are more Americans than some Americans. Does that look like peaceful people coming in here? That looks like an invasion. We got the National Guard down there, and that's what these people are doing to them. Disrespecting them. Why? Because the person over them is the one these folks are really being accountable to. Yeah, they know mucus will override all of that. They know mucus is not going to say stop these people by any means necessary. Yeah, he's like, don't hurt those precious illegal immigrants regardless of what they do.
Through the border.
We have a secure border.
Yeah. See the difference between the, I guess, ideal of what a secure border is, according to the Dems, versus Trump's.
And the border is secure.
Now, just in this picture alone, Trump has less folks entering in the country per month than just this picture. Right there. They said they apprehended 3 last month. Look at that. Just that small group right there is more than what Trump has allowed in the country this month.
The border is closed, and that's what we're focused on.
Now, why aren't all the dummies punishing the Democrats for this stuff? Why aren't all the dumb Democrat voters waking up and realizing that these folks were lying straight to my face? That's why I put that clip in the background. So that maybe one day a dummy could say, hey, wait a minute. Sounds like this guy's lying about it. He just said we have a secure border, and I'm seeing illegal immigrants push past our National Guard.
Oh, 11 million people living in the shadows, I believe they're already American citizens.
You hear that? See how easy he solved that illegal immigration problem by just declaring that they're pretty much already American citizens. What's the harm? You might as well go ahead and just make them all legal so they can all vote for us.
Welcome, my fellow Americans.
Yep, there you go. That was under him. Yep, look at that. Oh, and you know what else I noticed? Know what else I noticed right there? Yeah, the emasculation, the neutering of the National Guard. They have to sit there and watch these people go under the barbed wire that they put up without being able to do anything about it. Yeah, how do you think that made them feel? No wonder all of our numbers dropped when it came down to the military. when they say you got a new assignment, Mucus wants you down on the border to bring these people across. There you go. We want you to go and just watch them, make sure, they're not pushing and shoving. Make sure they, if just in case one of them get a little parched, they need some water, hand them out some bottles or things like that. We don't want them scratched, though, going under that barbed wire. So let's go ahead and bring in a tractor to lift up the barbed wire, to lift it up. Now, what does that represent? The border's open. You're welcome. We don't want an obstacle slowing you down. Remember, they were doing that to Texas. Texas put a couple of slinkies out there just to try to slow them down, and that was too much. That was too much. We want them coming unabated. In fact, let's make it easy as possible. Give them an app and make sure that these folks are, facilitating their entrance into our country. Yeah, there you go. Our new country.
No comprehensive immigration reform. None of the things they said was necessary. None of the things that said that it was impossible, that hampered by. He just did it. We've never seen anything like it.
This is MAGA country now.
That's right. This is MAGA country now. Y'all can't enter MAGA country illegally anymore. Those dear days. Whoa, those dear days are over. No more free entry into MAGA country now. See, so according to the Democrats, back then, they were all coming here because of asylum that they never explained. Now, you know what makes me mad about this and why Mucus and all of them who supported this crap and those that changed the asylum rules for these people to come here and stuff, they never were accountable to the American people to explain what these people's arguments were for coming. They never said, here is the average reason that these people are putting down on paper to come here. They just made us accept the fact that these people put some grievance down. Don't need to worry about what that is. Don't need to even think about, does that require asylum claims? We're not going to tell you what their reasons are, because you'll probably find that they all were for a better life. So what we're going to do is just say they're all claiming asylum. For what? I mean, y'all should be explaining to us why we got to take on that burden from people who you're saying they coming from asylum, but all around the globe. Not every country is fighting. Not every country was persecuting people for their religion or their political beliefs. So then what were the other reasons why people from China was here? Pakistan, all of those other countries. What were their reasons? Did y'all even bother to check? See, this is the stuff that bothers me. I mean, when I sit back and I think about the lame excuses that they threw out there and Democrat voters just accept it and the media accept it without a deeper explanation. These are easy things to check. Where are you from? From Mexico. Go home. Mexico's not at war. They're not persecuting you for your religious beliefs, and they're not persecuting you for your political beliefs. Go home. Next. I'm from Africa. What's going on over in Africa? I'm from a country that's hot. That's not an excuse. They ain't going to go home. It gets hot here too sometime. Peace. But they didn't even do that. Whatever excuse these people gave them. Now you're telling me 11 plus million people all had legitimate asylum claims that would allow you to catch them and release them into our country? You didn't bother to start saying, this is getting kind of crazy. We need to start looking at these countries to see if these people are legitimately claiming to be here. They didn't even do that. I mean, that's how disrespectful they treated the American people. Only smart people thought that, though. The dummies were like, yeah, well, they're coming for a better life. They built this country.
Border security, the White House and the Republicans are touting the claim that illegal crossings are down by 95%. Godways, as they call them, are down by 99%.
Now, y'all hear this person who's bringing up to Mr. Burns, there you go, about how these border crossings have just declined. The same border crossings that y'all swarping down, we can't do nothing. We can't do nothing about it. The same border crossings. So how do you think Mr. Burns is going to weasel out of this? Because we just saw the footage. We just saw the before and after. Yeah, we saw how they were just cruising in under Biden. Now they're not coming under Trump. And his response is what?
We 9 close to foreign nationals were released into the country compared to many more under the Biden administration in the meaningful year. Is that not a sign that the Republicans...
I'd say one thing to you. I don't trust Trump's numbers.
That's it. I don't trust Trump's numbers. That's it. Even if his numbers is 1 point off, that's still, what, 98%? Give him 10 points. I'll go ahead and give him 10. That's 90%. Yeah, that is extremely low. Still, compared to like what? Every month, we're looking at about 200,000 or 300,000 under Biden. And his only response to their horrible behavior, he didn't recognize the fact that we told y'all that we couldn't do nothing about it. And Trump came in and shut that mess down. And your only response is, I don't trust Trump's numbers. Do you trust your eyes? Do you trust Border Patrol's numbers? Do you trust the fact that they're sitting down and twiddling their thumbs now waiting for a random coyote to run past or something like that? Do you trust that? Well, since you don't trust those numbers, Chucky, we got some numbers I want to see if you trust.
Okay. Anyway, this week, as you know, marks the 100 days that Donald Trump has been in office.
Okay.
It is 100
Great days
of chaos.
Oh, 100 days of chaos.
From one end of the government and one end of the country to the other.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting timing for them to all come up with this narrative that Trump's the poll numbers have crashed right before his 100 days. So Chuck now seems like he's been waiting for this day because he's had some support to back his claims from the fake news who's swearing up and down things are so bad. But we now got to figure out what the real numbers are.
The polls this week show Trump has the lowest 100-day approval rating since they started polling 80 years ago. The lowest. Even worse, 72% of Americans think it's likely that Trump's handling of the economy
is good.
Will walk us directly into a recession.
Wow. Now you're throwing out a whole bunch of just numbers that you're pulling right out of your butt. There you go. 70% of dummies who we polled said that he will walk us. And also that we went ahead and polled 100 radicals with purple hair and asked them about Trump's first 100 days. So now here's Mr. Burns trying to say gloom and doom for Trump. However, it's time for some hypocrisy.
A few minutes later.
Yes.
There's a poll out today that has your approval rating lower than any other congressional leader, 17%. Right?
Oh, your approval numbers are lower than everybody's. 17%, Chucky. How do you feel about the numbers now?
Are you concerned that you may be a liability for your party?
Polls come and go. Our party is united. We're on our front foot. We're stepping forward and going after Trump and having real success.
Hypocrite.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
The polls this week show Trump has the lowest 100-day approval rating since they started polling 80 years ago. The lowest.
But yours?
Are you concerned that you may be a liability for your party?
Polls come and go. Our party is united.
These are just like that. Polls come and go. I don't put too much faith in those stupid polls. They come and go. One day you're down, the next day you're up. Who's the side? Who was the side? This guy didn't even realize how quickly he just trapped himself and made himself look dumb. He didn't realize it. In his mind, he was like, I said that about, 8 months ago. They'll never remember what I just said about Trump's polling. Oh, wait, that was like 30 seconds ago. And I quickly just changed my mind about how much faith we should put in those polls because they come and go.
Bad people. These are sick degenerates.
They are, John.
And I used to be much nicer to them. I
But not
gave them
anymore.
the benefit of the doubt, but I've just seen too much. My God.
I've seen too much, and that is why Trump, he destroys them every moment he gets. He calls them out. He don't pretend to be cool with them. See, there's some people, man, I'm like, don't get in my face trying to, and Kev, you know you my friend, you my boy, and I'm going, I don't like you, man. And I know you don't like me. I know what you said, what you did. I'm not going to sit back and be all up in your grill pretending that we're buddies and we're not. Okay, I'm not going to knock you out unless you just beg me to and make me, but I'm not going to also be dapping you up. And Trump is at that point with these people. They have shown that they're so evil that they don't require or deserve any type of sweet, soft accolades or anything. That's why he called Adam Schiff out. It was like, there's two senators here that I don't even like, honestly. I'm not even going to introduce them. That's how you need to treat them. Because you can't think for 1 second Adam Schiff will not stab Trump in his back if he could and get away with it. Yeah, and I'm talking literally. Literally. If Adam Schiff or Nancy Pelosi or any of them could take Trump out, which maybe they all had something to do with it, when that earshot took place, who knows? Do you think any of those dirty, nasty folks been trying to destroy him for the last 8 to 10 years would have lost sleep if they would have ended up taking Trump out? You think they would have felt all busted up, or maybe we went a little too far. Maybe we were wishing too much evil on him. Yeah, we didn't expect that to happen. Not one of them. They would have all behind closed doors celebrated and came out to the mic lying about we never expected things to go this far. We do not encourage violence. It's a shame what happened to him. But now that the Democrats are back in charge, we'll continue driving the country off the cliff.
This administration.
Up, the brain's back. So now you hear those nasty rumors, the Chuck Schumer spreading rumors. Chuck, the rumor spreader. That's what he's doing. Schumer spreading rumors about Trump's poll numbers in the economy. And the economy and stuff like that, and the tariffs and how the people are mad. So let's go ahead and hear the brain explain that too.
Has stressed the need for price transparency for things like healthcare bills and concert tickets. So why is it a political and hostile act for Amazon to display price transparency on consumer goods?
Whoa, now you done asked the right person, not the wrong one. You've got the right one, baby. Because the brain can explain that easily.
Well, I think it's the wrong way of looking at it, which is why would, first of all, that proposal is gone now, but why would Amazon, of all the different things that go into a theoretical price input, right? For example, does Amazon list the cost of California's regulations on everything made in California? Anything you make in California, you have a massive price increase because of the healthcare regulations that are unworkable in that state, because of the labor regulations that are unworkable in that state, because of the subsidies that go to illegal aliens in that state, because of all the bureaucracy. So anything being produced in California has a massive built-in price.
Stupid tax. That's what they should have on Amazon. See, if you're going to go ahead and give an itemized breakdown on the stuff coming from China and why you got to pay a little more for a knockoff the China stove, why don't you also put the Joe Biden, I did that tax on it? That this is a, I did that tax. Why don't you put a stupid tax? This right here, if you're buying it from California, the reason these hamburgers are so expensive is because of the stupid tax. Taxes that also are wrapped up in stupid stuff like what, Stephen?
Hike. So why wouldn't Amazon have a list saying if you purchase it in California instead of in Alabama, this is the premium that you pay? That you pay. This was a clear attempt by whoever proposed it originally. I don't know, because Amazon says they were never going to do it.
Oh yeah, of course. After they got busted. Oh what? Jeff Bezos? What? They did what? Hold on, man. Let me call my people. Hold on for a second, Trump. Give me a second, man. Let me get to the bottom of this. He's on to us. Shoot, what do we do? Let's pretend we didn't know about it. And we weren't going to do it, okay? All right. I'm about to put him back on the phone, and I'm going to pretend like I'm chastising you, okay? Ready? I'm putting him on speaker. And next time you do something without my permission, you're fired, buddy. Now get out of here and take that mess down. Sorry about that, Trump. Hey, honestly, man, I didn't even know they were doing it. I didn't even know that's what happened.
To try to undermine our trade negotiations with China. I'll make another important point on this, which is that there's been many complaints about the fact that there are a lot of products that are sold on Amazon that are actually ripoffs of American products that are then stolen by China, and then they take our IP and they put them into products to try to undersell our manufacturers. So
no wonder they have an invested interest in trying to make people get mad about the tariffs. No wonder. Hey, don't blame us. It's Trump. Everybody get mad at him, so pressuring him to go ahead and help China out and get rid of those tariffs. Now, I know this firsthand because remember, y'all, I told y'all years ago, I helped a family create and develop a product that were being, mass produced in China because it was low cost. You just couldn't pay for it here in the U.S. But the guy who hooked us up with the Chinese representative in China, he was an American manufacturer. He created stuff. He was an engineer. He said, look, I'm going to let you know. when they decide to make this product over there, they're going to steal it. And there's nothing you can do about it. Just up their front, told me right to my face. They're going to steal it and they're going to sell it over in China. And I'm like, what? They can they do that? Yeah, can't sue them. Yep, they do that to all of American products that are produced in China. They say, yeah, we'll help you out by giving it to you for cheap so you can sell it to everybody else. But our little take, the way our little kickback works is we'll take it too and we'll sell it to the Chinese for cheap. So there you go. Oh, well, you're going to sue us? You can't do it in Chinese court. There you go. So here we go.
To the extent that we are engaged in labeling issues on Amazon, I would say that would be the most significant one to fix, is making sure we're not undercutting Americans.
Well, here we go, y'all. This is when they was wishing gloom and doom. Because remember, Chuck Schumer said all those poll numbers and stuff like that. And I'm sure he's hoping that these new job numbers come out horribly.
Report showing the U.S. economy shrinking for the first time in 3 years. The GDP fell at a rate of 0.3% as President Trump's massive and ever-changing tariffs rattle consumers and businesses.
Report for April hitting the wires, non-farm payrolls a greater 177,000.
It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone around the world. Come on. Do. It's a celebration. Now it looks like it's a celebration. Jobs for everybody. You want a job? You want a job? Not you. You're illegal. You're an illegal immigrant. Get out of here. We're only giving these to Americans. Let's continue.
We're expecting, as Joe pointed out, 133,000. 177,000 would be the second best of the year outside of what's in the rearview mirror.
Where's Chucky boy? Why ain't Chuck coming out? I know I just read off some fake bootleg polls, but now it looks like things are picking up, so we can no longer lie to American people. Let's continue.
This was a positive job number. This is just it just proves that we have an economy that all the experts continue to underestimate. And I think
not underestimate. Lie about.
Looking through a prism of political hatred, for lack of a better term, rather than being logical about the greatest economy in the world. There are reasons countries want to come here.
Yeah. So the whole thing is they're negative about the economy and all of what Trump is doing because they want to make the Americans mad at Trump so they could come up with bootleg polls. Yeah, to where they're mad at their ideal of what these people are saying is happening, not what's really happening. So now this is what's really happening, but dummies won't see it. Just like Trump's first term, where they didn't even realize all of the wonderful blessings that came from his policies because they were living in a fictional ideal of what the media created in their mind. So they didn't realize, wow, jobs are everywhere. Job security, buying is up, all of this stuff. If 401ks were up, stock market was up, but they couldn't focus on those goodies because the fake news was saying everything's horrible. It's chaotic. And that's what their job is now. They don't want people to know this is the stuff you really should be putting your faith in, these numbers right here. Not Chuck Schumer's lying numbers.
There's a reason people buy our treasuries. There's a reason a dollar is the world's reserve currency. And the notion that they can flip a switch and find a replacement for America is nuts. And yet that's been the Wall Street narrative all along.
Yep, their lying narrative because they want to keep it business as usual. And Trump knows that. You can't flip the script and go somewhere else. Who you going to buy from? Who you going to buy from? If I'm the only person in the city that owns water, everybody got to line up and say, can I get some of that high quality H2O? Like the water boy. There it is. That's high quality H2O. Everybody got to line up, man. Can't go nowhere else to get no water. So let's continue hearing about these horrible numbers of Trump.
That's right, because the media can't get out of its Trump derangement syndrome and just report the facts.
Right.
Look, no surprise.
Facts? What's that? They don't know what facts are. You get me? Crap. Instead, we report crap, not facts.
Is that government jobs are down with a federal hiring freeze in.
Government jobs are down, just like Trump said they would be. So you're telling me the only area that is down when it comes down to jobs is the area where it was bloated waste, and Doge went in and gutted that joint, streamlined it to save us some money. Continue.
Place, and the fact that President Trump has made it clear he wants to see an economy driven by private enterprise.
Private enterprise, not fake numbers, job numbers, under the Democrats where they just kept hiring a whole bunch of federal employees. There you go. Yeah, we'll go ahead and pad the numbers with hiring people we don't need, overflow. They don't do nothing. They stay at the crib and make money, and they're radicals and they're stuff like that. Let's go ahead and pack the government with a whole bunch of liberals who love Democrats. And as long as we're giving them all of these benefits for working for the government, like staying home and still getting paid while working another job, yeah, they're going to continue to be on the list of, look, our job numbers. And then when it comes down to having a deep state that would definitely undermine anybody else to come in, we already got them in place. Yeah, we done hired a whole bunch of people. So let's continue, though, because where's Chuck Schumer?
Jerry Storch,
Right.
private enterprise.
Look, capitalism will find a way.
The falling GDP panic is more fake news.
More fake news? All that stuff I've been hearing from the fake news talking about, it's over. It's over, everybody. That's right. Just take all your money out the bank, bury it in the backyard. Trump's about to ruin the whole economy. Tell us more about this GDP.
And that's the subject of the riff. All right, hang on. The liberal media and their pals on Wall Street are talking about recession. Yeah. Because the first quarter GDP was scored with a slight decline of 0.3%. And those afflicted with the disease of Trump derangement syndrome.
Yes, please. Please tell the truth and shame the devil. Those that's suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, pretty much American derangement syndrome, because they hate our country. See, they're rooting for the enemy. They hope China wins this war. Yeah, they don't want to see Trump succeed.
Are now talking about recession in the second quarter. But if you look under the hood of this GDP report,
let's see.
You carefully parse through the numbers.
Somebody go get it. Not like Tim Walz. Not like him and that fake guy, as you can see here, that there's a thingamajigger right there I'm going to work on for. No, we want a deep dive. We want to flip that mug up and say, let's see the real numbers. What's going on under here? Tell us.
What you actually come up with is a rather strong economy that's growing at something around 3%.
No
That's
way.
right, 3%.
Now imagine if they reported real legitimate news. I mean, you know how many Americans will be so happy for what Trump is doing if they only were getting their news from the right source. But instead, unfortunately, many of them will not be able to see it. Yeah, and these would be the dummies that once Trump is gone would be pretending like they don't know what he did that was so great. All of us would be going, man, he was the greatest president ever. Do you think all the wonderful things he did? What did he do? I mean, that he was a white supremacist. He was deporting all those people. He hated all the Latinos and all this. And I'm going, oh, man. You're one of those victims. Never mind. Shh. Come here. Just give you a hug. It's at that point where some people are so bad off, all you can do is just go, come here, man. Why are you hugging me? Because, trust me, you needed that hug. There's nothing else we could do for you. So let's continue hearing all the wonderful things, right? Because it's a celebration.
Now, Mr. Trump has barely begun, but core GDP in Q1, which takes out the fluky trade import numbers from the tariff front running.
Yeah.
So the heart of GDP, which is private sector consumption plus private sector business investment.
Bam!
Well, you see an actual increase in the first quarter of, wait for it, 3%. And then, if you look deeper into the numbers, you find even better news.
What? Better news? Give me some more. Give me some more. I'm not tired of all the good news. I'm sick of all the bad and fake news, but I'm not tired of all the good news. Tell us more.
Private business investment is up while government spending is down.
Isn't that how it's supposed to be? Boy, look like what Trump is doing is working and it's smart, but not according to Chuck Schumer.
That's right. Business fixed investment increased nearly 10% at an annual rate in Q1. And
now look at how gleeful he's reporting this. But I guarantee you, the fake news, if they got to cover it, it's going to be with a stank look on their face. Like they just swallowed a big fat apple with a worm in it. As you can see, the job numbers were a little higher than we expected. And but what does that mean? We don't know yet. Yeah, they'll cover it like that, with disdain.
And even better, business equipment and machinery, which is an incredibly important harbinger of productivity, of job increases, and real wage hikes. That rose an incredible 22.5%. 5%.
So that means people are buying stuff that makes stuff in America. See, the government don't need to buy all that stuff because they're not even in the office. They were all sitting at the crib. Why would they need, tractors and big tools and machinery in the government? They just regulate people who use that stuff. You can't come in here with your bulldozer. There's a rare snail who lives here. And that snail right there needs to be relocated. It's going to take 8 years to do it. Then we'll give you that's all they do. They prevent all of these wonderful business men and businesses from growing. They hate that mess. More government. Make the government bigger. But not now.
There's no recession there.
No.
The entire GDP report, 22.5%, is probably the single most important number. No recession.
And I bet you that right there is a hard pill to swallow for the libs. Now, it's sad, but I pretty much can bet ya that every single Democrat and every raggedy liberal media person would love a recession. While they overlooked Joe Biden's recession. Yeah, there you go. They overlooked that. But they would love it. I'm telling you, they would love it if our country hit full-blown rock bottom under Trump. There you go. They would love it. So they can sit back and say, you know what? If we can't have it, we'll tear it down and then create a false image of what we're going to create out of all the rubbish. That's what we're going to do. We're going to tell them we're going to create a government for all of you to be enslaved. All of you to serve our tyranny. All of you to, of course, be censored. All of you to embrace our illegal immigrants that we're going to shove down your throat. That's what kind of government we're on. But don't worry, we're fighting for racism and stuff. We're fighting against it. What's this?
All right, breaking moments ago, the April jobs report just released showing steady gains amid some economic uncertainty. I want to bring in CNN's Matt Egan, who joins me now with more. All right, what are we seeing in the numbers? What is the context?
Don't throw up while reporting this. I know it's going to be hard. As you can see, the numbers are a little bit more than what we...
Yeah, Omar, we were bracing for a slowdown in the jobs market.
No, you weren't bracing for it. You were hoping for it. Don't be talking about we were bracing for it, that slowdown in the job market. No, y'all were hoping for it, predicting and trying to create the image in everybody's mind that, boy, I tell you, I'm scared to see what's going to happen. And look at that.
We did not get that. We got steady hiring. This jobs market is just relentless. Let me run you through the key numbers.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, my friends, the time has come. Go away and have some fun. Life is good and wild. Yeah, man. It's a celebration. Well, we didn't get what we were hoping for. Look at this.
77,000 jobs were added in the month of April. That easily beat forecasts for 135,000.
So wait, we superseded those numbers? I thought Trump was going to ruin everything. Good grief. Boy, so let me understand. He's superseding all the numbers and all the expectations of the people who were smart enough to vote for him. He superseded the amount of numbers that I thought he would hit when it come down to those border crossings. Look at that grade, 99.9. Yeah, he superseded it in record-breaking time. And now look at this.
Been close there. The unemployment rate stayed low. It stayed at 4.2%. When we look at where the jobs are right now, we're seeing solid gains in a number of places.
Except for what?
Accommodation and food services, right? Restaurants, hotels, hospitals, healthcare, private education, all of them adding jobs. One place where we saw a loss of jobs again was the federal government.
Good. He's doing exactly. The plan is working. Everybody else, the private sector, is growing while the government is shrinking. Ta-da! I fixed it. See? I fixed it. That's exactly how it should be. But according to the Democrats, big government, especially that USAID that they needed for all of their personal matters and stuff like that. Shrinking. Boy, I tell you, I know they sick reporting this.
As the Doge cuts to the workforce continue. But still, when we really zoom out here, this jobs market has been solid, right? I mean,
as a rock. Yeah.
77,000 jobs. That, when we look at the trend, look at this. We saw that March was actually significantly revised lower to 185,000 jobs added. That's down from the original report. So you can see that there really isn't all that much of a change here. And these are still very solid numbers.
And it makes you sick, doesn't it? Now, why aren't the Democrats coming out and dropping those numbers out there? You think they're going to come out and give those job reports and celebrate with us as a country for our success? Success. You think they would ever celebrate our success? Ever? If you don't believe me, listen to this next Democrat that has to recognize that, the job numbers are high. But
so this is a big contrast to what's shown up in the surveys, right? We've seen so much gloom and doom.
You know why? It's a big contrast. What's showing up in the surveys is because you're lying to people. You're manipulating people. You're covering Trump with like 99. You want to hear a number? 98% negativity. That's a high number. Yeah. So then when you do a survey, after lying to people saying everything's going to hell and Trump's doing the prices are going to go up. I don't know what he's doing. It's chaotic in the White House. Covering him like that. And then you wonder about the survey. And there you get the disconnect. The disconnect is what your brain think is happening because you've been, this your brain on CNN and MSNBC versus what's really happening. But here's a Democrat here to celebrate with us, I guess.
From consumers, small business owners, CEOs, there's all of these concerns about the economy, about the trade war.
Concern for nothing. Look at this.
We're back with more on the latest jobs numbers. The April jobs report beat expectations with the U.S. adding 177,000 jobs. But that number is down significantly from last month as the U.S. faces growing economic pressure. And joining us now is Democratic Senator Peter Welch of Vermont. Senator, great to have you with us. Lots to talk about. But first, I just want to get your reaction to this new jobs report. Does this resilience mean the U.S. can weather any tariff turmoil?
It definitely doesn't.
Ta-da! Yeah. You think a Democrat, if they couldn't celebrate the little boy that Trump went ahead and made an honorary, Secret Serviceman, you think they're going to celebrate high job numbers? You think they're going to celebrate the victory that we're going to get when it comes down to these trade wars with China and all the rest of them? You think they're going to celebrate that? When Trump knocks this out the park, because right now, if the economy is doing better and jobs are picking, imagine once we close these major trade agreements. Imagine when the tax reforms are done. Imagine all of that stuff coming together like the perfect, wonderful storm. And boy, it's going to be hard for them to say, well, now we don't have one of the areas that we could say, well, this area is going to ruin everything. So now it goes from, the job numbers are up, but that's not good enough to overcome Trump's stupid decision with the trades.
I mean, in my view, these tariffs are going to be seen by historians as the biggest economic blunder.
No, that's what you're hoping. It will be seen by historians as the biggest No. What happens when he resets the whole trade situation and we're booming? They'll never admit it.
In 100 years. That's how bad they are.
That's how bad they
our
are.
Farmers who import fertilizer from Canada, they're getting hammered. Our manufacturers that have to get steel and aluminum, they're getting hammered. And then in addition to that, the uncertainty, you're seeing that have a very negative impact on business and on consumer confidence. So
now see, and that is why there's the disconnect. See, now we just had to show y'all. You got the job report. You got the real information that shows the results of what Trump is doing. And then you got this vague statements out there getting hammered. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. Everybody's mad at Trump and that's enough. And I'm going, I don't know about that. You check up in Michigan with all of these car union places. They're going great with the tariffs, Trump. Great. Keep them up. Put the pressure on them.
The president is making a very grave mistake here, and he's playing Russian roulette with our economy.
Like y'all did. Y'all played 100% Russian roulette with bullets in every chamber when it came down to us. All right, we're going to lock you up in your house for 2 years. Bang. We're going to interrupt the supply chain. Bang. That's what we're going to do. All of that. We're going to send your money over to Ukraine. Bang. I'm like, dude, I thought Russian roulette had like one bullet and, you span and make. Y'all done put bullets in every chamber. Hey, you talking about Russian roulette with our economy. So let's continue, though. We're going to close on a good note. when it comes down to these tariffs that this man says is going to go down as the worst decision ever.
China's embassy just said they are not having any talks on tariffs.
Now you see this? The fake news carrying the water for the Chinese. Pushing Chinese talking points. So I guess Xi told all of them, we are not talking to Trump. And y'all said, oh, thank you, Xi, for clearing that up. We trust you. So let's continue.
And that the U.S. should stop creating confusion. Now,
China claims all this talk about negotiations and de-escalation was just talk.
Oh, and y'all seem gleeful to accept that lie, that talking point. China says that it's a lie. You see, they don't realize that if you really read their facial expressions and their body language, you know whose team they're on. You know how they feel about what they're reporting. Yeah, if they really was on Team USA, not just Team Trump, Team USA, they'd be like, we have speculations about China because they're saying that they're not, talking to the US after our president said we are. We have questions whether they're telling the truth or not. But nope, not them. China says Trump and them are lying. That's what they said. Oh, boy.
The president claimed negotiations were underway. Well, this morning, China refutes that claim.
China insinuating today that President Trump is lying. We should note that the communist Chinese government has a long history of lying. Although, anyway.
Oh, you see him? You see that snarky remark? Yeah, you know what he was saying. You know what fake crapper was trying to do? Pretend that he wasn't carrying water for China while insulting Trump. While trying to say, well, look, the Chinese, they have a history of lying, but hey, I'm not going to say it, but you also know who else does. The man who we lie about every single day. Not my network. Trump is the one that has the long history of lying too. So we should believe China over them. Look at this.
Said that there are talks with China every day. Who are the talks with and at what level? Because the Chinese are saying that's not true.
President Trump is telling lies. The lie is that China's president, Xi Jinping, has called him to talk about tariffs.
Y'all hear all of that? President Trump is telling lies. Xi is the one that we can trust. Absolutely. So now we better go ahead as we close out to see who's lying or not.
Welcome back. Beijing is now considering official trade talks with the United States, but it is requesting Washington cancel the unilateral tariff measures first.
What? Chi, you don't have the negotiation power right here to demand nothing from us, okay? Don't make us go ahead and ruin your whole country. So let me understand. Yeah, just a second ago, Chi wasn't having, he wasn't talking to nobody. Yeah, he's like, you want to bring it on, bring it on. Uh-huh. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Chi was kung fu fighting and got knocked out.
These tariffs have already taken a toll on Chinese goods. April manufacturing activity in China seeing its sharpest downturn in more than a year.
What? Why isn't the fake news reporting on that? Now, Trump and his tariffs are going to ruin everything. So they're not talking about all of the stuff that's taking place over in China. Huh? Yeah, they're not rooting for us to win this against our number one adversary, economically, militarily, everything. They're not rooting for us. No, they would rather see us be put in a compromising, weakened state like we were under Joe Biden than to see Trump win this war. So let's continue hearing about what she said and what they're doing.
And now the CCP is quietly exempting about a quarter of U.S. imports from tariffs.
Ooh, sneaky. Ancient Chinese secret. That's what that is. Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to come out and tell my people that, I got to make some decisions here. It's getting a little rough over here. I'm going to tell them like, the China will stay strong. We'll never surrender to the U.S. Dang on it. Make the call quickly. Get Trump on the phone right now. So now, let's see what else is happening.
Giving a little olive branch to the U.S. I spoke with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent about it all yesterday. He said China's economy is in big trouble if they do not negotiate with the U.S.
You hear that? Now, that's the type of talk I want to hear. Now, see, this is an American First Lady right there. Yeah, she's not talking about the U.S. is in big trouble if they keep these tariffs on China. She said the Chinese is in big trouble if they don't want to come to the table. We'll go around you. Everybody wants to come to us, y'all. They all want the deal from us. Nobody's banging down China's door.
Watch.
I think first there will need to be a de-escalation on these very large tariffs. 145 and 125 are not sustainable on the Chinese side.
On the Chinese side, ta-da! There you go. That's positive talk right there. That shows that we are using our leverage and our status right now to say who can outlast who. But according to the left and the media, America, we can't outlast it. We're doomed. Get mad at Trump. Tell him to surrender to the Chinese. Never. Never, Trump. Yeah, I don't care if we go ahead and have to keep these tariffs on them until their whole country is eating nothing but rice. Keep them. Okay? Make them go ahead and tap out. And if they won't tap after you put them in a rear naked choke or an arm bar, break it. I've seen that happen. It's like, dude, that guy got that arm bar in real tight. You might want to hit him with but your pride made him say, oh, he broke it. Just like Ricky Bobby. No, break it because you don't understand freedom. You don't understand liberty.
We saw some very poor GDP numbers out of them. Out of China yesterday. We're now seeing very large estimates of job growth loss from 5 to 10 million jobs. So the Chinese economy is slowing down substantially here.
Wow. And you would never know that if you turn over to Rachel Madcow or CNN or MSNBC and all of them. You would never know that. I'm excited about this. It sounds like we're winning. All we do is win, win, win. But you turn on the fake news. We're losing. That's it. We're done.
We will likely revisit the purchase agreements that were put together in the first China trade agreement in January of 2020 to make sure that the Chinese are honoring those agreements.
Yeah. And by the way, might as well throw a couple other questions on the plate too. Like, hey, man, what was up with those balloons that was flying all over the place? Why you disrespect us like that when you knew we had a president who was asleep at the wheel? And another thing, what's up with that COVID, man? Y'all went ahead and dropped over here. Yeah, man, we got a problem with that. Build that into these negotiations.
And then we are going to push for fair trade with China.
And I love the fact that you are a China.
Oh, we about to close out. Now, this is the type of attitude and approach we should have in regards to China. Mr. Kevin, with the cool name, tell us why these wonderful tariffs are a good thing.
A hawk, as I am, because I've seen, all of the bad behavior. I don't think they're going to be floating a surveillance balloon so quickly now with what's going on.
Yeah, not right now. They can't call the White House and say, listen, Donald Trump, you will not shoot down those balloons because of that $1.5 billion deal I gave to you and your crackhead son. They can't do that. They ain't got nothing on Trump like that. Yeah. Oh, creepy though. Ooh, that balloon creeped all over the United States for a whole week till they was done getting all the information they needed. All right, now you can shoot it down. We're done.
But they have been quietly exempting about a quarter of imports, U.S. imports from tariffs.
Quietly, y'all. Y'all hear that?
Bloomberg reports that those exempted products include 131 items like pharmaceuticals, industrial chemicals. It's seen as a strategic effort to match Washington's action.
So wait, they just did that on their own without secretly talking to the U.S.? That's what you're telling me? Because remember, we just saw the fake news celebrating over Xi saying, no, we ain't talked to him. We ain't never talked to them. They lying on us, y'all. They lying on us. But yet somehow, I guess they just are, taking the tariffs off of these items quietly without talking to us.
In a goodwill way, Kevin. What do you think?
We're at the beginning of a negotiation, but it's, as I've said countless times now, tariffs with China, that's just one item that has to be dealt with. This is now time to call them into account for all the other breaches they've had for decades.
All the other breaches they've had for decades. Tariffs is just small. Y'all really deserve a big fat kick in the groin. Deserve football to the groin. However, Mr. Wonderful, who's not falling for the fake news and being sympathetic to our number one rival, tell us how we should continue handling this.
With the World Trade Organization and also with our IP laws in the U.S. No access to their courts. They have access to our capital market.
No access to their courts. Seems like a lopsided, one-sided relationship. that China has been abusing us over, while using our dumb leaders. What else have they been doing to us, Kevin?
We don't have it there. We're forced to get into partnerships in China. We don't force them to do that here. Wow. There's so many different levels to fix on this. So I'm very encouraged, as the market is, obviously, that we have this narrative going on and that there is the beginning of a negotiation. But this China deal, Maria, is so different than the rest of the world.
Tell us why.
It's time to hold them accountable and give them consequences for not playing by the rules.
No. According to some dumb Democrats and even some stupid Republicans and the fake news, let them continue abusing us. Let them continue to try to overtake us as the number one superpower. Let them do that. Let them continue going ahead and hitting us with tariffs and all of that stuff, but not letting it be reciprocal. Let them continue making all these very important things that we might need, just in case we go to war with them, though. We might need it, but let them continue doing that. Let them continue greasing the pockets of folks in Wall Street and folks in the government, to allow us to sell out our workers by sending our jobs overseas to them. Yeah, let them continue doing that because they're slick. They realize the key to destroying America is through the greedy politicians who have the regulations and allow them to get away with it. Yeah, that's it. Why pay tariffs? Why pay taxes when we could just simply pay off politicians? There you go. We'll come out cheaper by making sure Joe Biden gets that $1.5 billion deal versus paying real tariffs and taxes when we go ahead and sell our stuff and all of that. Yeah, why do that when we can just go ahead and focus on our greedy, stinking, corrupt politicians? But not anymore.
If they want to play with the big boy and the U.S. and become the G8, essentially, they got to play by the rules. And now it's time to say, look, it's not enough just to have these reciprocal tariffs worked out. We need you to play by the rules. And I think we'll get there with them.
Yeah. And by the way, they have made so much progress in their own advancement, and innovation, largely because they stole it, right? I mean,
Yeah. And I guess the Democrats and the fake news forgot about that. They come over here, they drop spies all over the place here in China. You know what I'm saying? Steal our intellectual properties. Have everybody who works over here that's from China sending information back. And there it is, opening up businesses in the U.S. There you go. And doing things like buying up all our farmland, irrigating our good topsoil back to China. All of this stupid stuff I'm watching. And I'm saying, does anybody else not think that that's a bad idea to allow China to infiltrate our country to such degree? To where we're relying on them and we're giving them our greatest resources and trusting that they're not stealing our secrets and stuff. Is it just me? So now, they recognize it. So do Trump.
Intellectual property theft has been going on decades, costing hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars to American companies. That's just that in some ways is the small potatoes, because then you've got fentanyl, COVID, and the COVID.
Oh, I forgot about fentanyl. Bam! Yeah, thank you, Barmato, whatever her name is, Maria Barmato. Thank you for reminding me. I forgot about the fentanyl that they're shipping over here too. Poisoning us, making sure we have a weakened country through drug addiction and all of that other stuff. Yeah, interesting.
Cover up, surveillance, and they are, picking it up in terms of surveillance. But as I said, I doubt you're going to see another surveillance balloon coming in, surveilling our military installations while this is all going on.
Darn right. But it's okay, though, because the Democrats are okay with China winning, because they're not America first. The Democrats, the fake news, all of them would love to see Xi win this and go back to abusing us and sending balloons our way.
Don't forget the hacking into all of our telecom infrastructure, Kevin. But I want to talk about TikTok. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. There's a pattern, though, Maria, that with China you should be aware of, particularly innovation in America. When a product or service is actually created here, people spend hundreds of millions in R&D. When it hits a $5 million run rate, it gets knocked off. I testified this a few weeks ago. I used an example, a very simple product called DrainWig, which is an innovation in America to help hotel owners reduce plumbing costs by catching hair in drains. It's so simple. Yeah. But it's a patented product.
Right.
40 knockoffs. 40 knockoffs.
Right.
Put the company out of business.
That's right.
We got to stop this, yeah.
We got to stop it, so what? inevitable. That's how you stop it.
You tell them I'm coming! And who's
China.
coming with me? You
China.
Who's coming with me? Can you dig it?
I can dig it.
Can you dig it?
Can you dig it, Chief? I can dig it. There you go, man. If you don't know, there you go. No more games. And if we do play the games, we win. Let the games begin. You heard Bane. Yeah. China's like, you all have made a big mistake. Made a serious mistake. Not as serious as yours, I fear. That's what he needs. China's like, no, I'm in charge. Do you feel in charge? No, they don't. It is. So anyway, somebody beat me to it. That's one of my favorite. Bane is one of my favorite Batman characters, man. That scene where he just laid the hand on his shoulder to show him, like, who's running the show. Do you feel in charge? That was great. So yeah, I think everybody is starting to realize no matter how much trash they talked, at the end of the day, they feel Trump laying that big American hand on them and saying, do you feel in charge? Yeah, and at the end of the day, they gotta go, no. So let's talk. So God bless y'all. God bless America. Thanks for kicking it with me tonight. Oh man, I see. Every time I say it, you already know what happens. They're like, there's the magic word. Nah, I'm not picking anybody up today. So yeah, let's keep winning. Let's stay positive. Let's keep exposing this nonsense and fighting all of the fake news and all of that stuff. All right, a quick dose of Gizmo, because last time y'all saw Nala. Yeah, fat boy. Fat furry boy. You managed to get out of getting your hair cut the other day because of my job. And I'm sure he was loving it. And Gizmo hates getting a haircut. So anyway, we will be back probably Monday. Oh, by the way, y'all, I'm going to my midnight shift starting Sunday night at 11. Yeah, man, they're sending me finally to the late night shift. So, yeah, I probably won't be missing any shows during the day, which is cool. Now, don't forget to text MAGA to this number if you haven't already. And also check out Kevin's Corner Store to support the channel that way. Thanks to those that gave me the super chat. And you can also support the channel through just simply my Cash App or my PayPal link, or sharing the videos, hitting the like button, telling people about it. All of that works. All of that helps. All right. Now, with that being said, let's get ready to get out of here, y'all. I enjoyed exposing those Democrats. Up more kind of hands around y'all throats. Tear up the place, yeah. God bless. Take care.